sounds loud, but it's not.
When I read your letter, I couldn't believe that you're gone.
By the time I'm 75, I want to make at least another 5 records that are as good as everything else I've done.
No one answer the phone.
Film a man, filming a man, filming a man, filming a man.
I asked your friends to tell me if they knew where you were. They said they thought that you were there.
My son managed me for a while, 2 or 3 years ago, and he said, Dad, everything you do has to be FischerZ, because that's what people know you as. So now, everything that I do is FischerZ, and with my band, it's clearly FischerZ. If I play solo, and the solo shows are very different in theatres, then we say it's solo, so they know it's a different kind of show.
Yeah.
And then there's more politics and there's more humour, and it's a different audience, really. Good morning, voice. When you start, the audience is roughly the same age as you and a few people older, like when you're 22, 23. Then the audience kind of grow up with you. What I find extraordinary is we've got a far greater age range than you'd think for our music. And there's people who are huge fans who weren't born when the first stuff was done. And I think that's partly a result of the internet. I used to think it was children of parents who'd been, but it's not. It's a completely different audience. And the audience varies. The band shows, you get more folks that come for the classic stuff. So it's a slightly older audience and a more male-dominated audience. All the solo shows I've been doing in the last 2 or 3 years, the audience is younger and there's a higher proportion of women. Well, look at those jeans. That's dreadful. I must have had a summary way about me. Oh, yeah. It's going to be a very fast Berlin. Wow, I've never seen this. Jenny! She's a TV presenter in New Zealand. Who's that? Cian, the bass player. Oh, Wildman Peacock playing guitar.
Explore the room again. Beside pictures of film stars came, here it is. But you are no wall. Where in
Do you like to watch yourself, your old band, on television?
I don't watch much of it. I think I don't mind. I mean, it's okay. I think that you're like looking at a different person. I think I find it easier now. The original decision that I made, leaving in the middle of the Red Skies tour, leaving FischerZ at that point, I always said that I didn't regret it. Then I did really regret it because it's made life a bit harder than it could have been for me. I'm very happy with where we are now. I'm very happy with that, very happy with the new material. In the next 5 years, I'm now 69. By the time I'm 75, I want to make at least another 5 records that are as good as everything else I've done. Obviously, I can't sing quite as high as I used to, but I can sing a lot lower. I mean, my enthusiasm for it is the same. And I think the enthusiasm is the thing that transmits. So in yesterday's show, for instance, at the Tivoli, it's fun to transmit that kind of
celebration.
Yeah, it's a celebration.
It's a moment to remember, a moment that is gone. And we won't last forever like this river. But the beat goes on. It'll never slip away. The beat goes on. I don't know what to say. Don't hear my words. And don't listen to this song. The beat goes on.
What do you have in Germany? I mean, Berlin, the Hamburg beat,
Yeah.
Red Skies of Paradise, that picture.
Well, I got a lot of connections with Germany from the beginning. I didn't realise it until after we got successful. My father was military, they're all military, and he was fighting the war in Burma against the Japanese. A number of his friends that lived near us were in Europe. And when his friend Ronnie Rogers came home and he had married a German woman, and he brought her back to England in 1947. Now, that should be an absolutely marvellous symbol of peace after a war.
Yeah.
But it's very weird. In the street we were in, a lot of people found that very difficult. He had 3 brothers in the Navy, and they'd all been killed in the war, and yet he'd married a German woman. And she was my Auntie Vera. So from the age of 3, I used to go and stay with Auntie Vera. I was the only kid in the world, only kid in England with a teddy bear called Fritz. But the best thing I've got, I mean, my grandfather was born in 1874, and he was already 45 before the First World War, and he was the mayor of a town. And he decided he'd go because they'd been sending kids to the First World War. He said, "I've got to go, I'm not married, I'm 45. And he had an amazing war. He went right the way through as an officer. And at the end of it, though, he got his legs damaged, and he was in charge of lots of German prisoners of war. And obviously in the First World War, everybody was aware they were victims. They didn't know, they didn't hate one another. They were just victims of a system. And so at the end of the war, he took the prisoners home. My grandfather learnt German, and we've got this marvellous thing that the German prisoners made for him at home saying, "Dear George, thanks for a lovely war. Love, Hans, Fritz," and everything. It's just beautiful. And so I'm actually going to write, hopefully in 2026, I'm going to do a kind of musical, which is George's War, which I want to do in Edinburgh and I want to do in Berlin. The whole thing about the logo and about the name is timeless. That's what I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be something that people couldn't, when they saw the word FischerZ or the logo, they heard the sound and they heard my voice.
Sheriff